good people. Hello, boys and girls. How are you all doing? Hope you're having a wonderful time. We are because, well, it's time for True Hearts Podcast. And wait, have you subscribed? You should click that subscribe button. Sharp, sharp. And of course, put on your notification because it's about to go down like it always does. Well, today on the show, today on True Hearts Podcast, our topic is it's one very dear to our hearts because we all have experienced it in one way or the other. We are guessing you might have, sometimes without even knowing that that is what you're going through. Well, let us let you know who we have or who we are right here on the program. We have none other than Mactel Ayong. Hello and welcome.
Thank you so much, Faith. Thank you for having me once again on Truth Hurts Podcast Nation.
Hello, brother Jude.
Yeah, of the Lord. In the Lord.
In the Lord Jesus.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good.
Yeah, of course. You always ask, but nobody bothers to ask you. So I'm
that's
gonna
sweet.
Oh, brother Jude, you can be so sweet.
I'm sweet like that.
Oh my God. Oh. And we also have the godmother herself. Tia is in the building. We've been having a great time, and she just brings in the extra spice, the extra vibe, the extra juice.
That's right.
Juicy. You understand?
Yeah, believe that.
Hope you're
I got
doing good.
the juice, I got the sauce, I got the special ingredients. You know, that ingredients. So, mop this.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
That's a period.
Period.
Oh my. Well, the thing is, we are in high spirits, but our talking point is not a pleasant one because it will permit us to go down memory lane. It will permit us to revisit some really unpleasant memories, and we can get really, really emotional. Today on the program, on the show, we discuss depression and clinical depression to be precise. And I would like us to just read let's say, dictionary definition of what depression is. Clinical depression, to be precise. It is a mental health disorder characterized by persistently depressed mood or loss of interest in activities causing significant impairment in daily life. And when you hear this definition, you realize that it is a pretty common thing. If you're paying attention to every single word that has to do with this particular definition, you realize that at some point in your life, you might have been depressed and you did not even know that that is what you're going through. And today on the program, I want to talk about it because in this part of the world, oftentimes when people say, oh, I'm depressed, I'm going through a hard time, I think I'm going through depression. People be like, come on, you're not depressed. Some will joke, it's not depression, no, it's because you're broke, you need money. Some will even be like, you know what, pray about it. And they'll be like, it's not that bad, come on, let's go out and drink. But you know how you feel. You sometimes do not even have the right words to express it. So we are having that discussion right now, sharing our experiences based on the things that cause us to be depressed and how we can cope in today's world because everything is so public. Sometimes you're afraid to even come and tell people that I am going through depressive phase. How do I handle this? What words of advice can you shoulder me during this period? So we have three ladies actually, and a gentleman. There are just so many reasons why people are low, why people are depressed. We need to have those conversations so that people understand when addressing them or when dealing with people. These days, people don't even understand or know what depression is. They don't know how bad it is because just like we're saying from the definition, depression makes you literally lose interest in everything.
True.
People have lost their jobs because they got into depression and could not get out of it. There was a time when I was struggling so much with having the motivation to go to work. It was so hard. I had already quit my job in my head. I told myself, you know what? If this is how these people see this thing, and they feel that I am responsible for this and that because the story is just a messy one, why don't I step out or step away from this scene and let these people progress such that their downfall or their mishap is not associated with mine? It was that bad. I was crying back to back. And the bad thing that people don't talk about depression is the fact that you have to be so patient with whoever is depressed. True. I was down and there was somebody that was with me every day. I've never seen when somebody abandons their life to come and give me help.
Oh wow, that's
This
great.
person was there every day, never judging me,
Yeah.
never telling me, but I've been advising you. I've been telling you not to be kind to these people. I've been telling you that these people are not your friends. Now you were thinking that they are your friends, and you've
See where
gotten
you
into a
are now,
station to where you are and all of that. No, he didn't.
Right.
He stayed there, consoled me, was wiping my tears every single time, making sure I was eating. I say it was so bad that I went for days without realizing that I had not had my bath.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yes,
yeah.
I
It's
had not had
that's
my
what
bath.
it is.
It was that bad.
Yeah.
Because I will wake up, I will cry to the point where my eyes are so swollen. The only thing I would do is to reassure my mother, because I know that if she knows that I am not okay, then
She
it
too
is-
will not be
she
okay.
can leave where she is just to come and be with
And
me.
it's just the same thing with me. My mom never ever knew that I got angry.
Yeah,
She
I
never
cannot
ever
see
knew
her
that I
in
got
that,
angry.
in that state. So this person was so patient and was understanding. I think that if we can get to that point when dealing with people that are depressed, we'll be going a long way. But anyway,
Right.
let us not get ahead of ourselves. Want to share with us
Yeah,
one of
for
those
sure.
episodes where you were really, really down and what
Oh
happened?
hell yeah. First of all, before getting into my own experience,
Okay.
I want to talk about it generally, right?
Sure, why not?
Because depression is caused by so many different things.
Facts.
It's not just the thing. Like it's caused. It could be even genetical. Like it could be in your bloodline. It could come from that. It could come from, I don't know, postpartum,
Facts.
this after postpartum traumatic or PTSD, right? Yeah, disorder, which is what most women go through after giving birth. They have that moment where they get depressed because you're a new person now. You have a new baby
They even
that you
detest
don't know
their
how to
children
talk. Yeah,
sometimes.
you have these changes that have happened in your body, this pain, and everybody expects you to be a happy mother. Oh, you just gave birth. You're supposed to be happy, but you're in pain and you have so much responsibility. This baby is crying all the time. It's you. Sometimes you don't even know what to do. Like in my case, when I gave birth, like sometimes my son is crying. I will try everything. I will even join him and cry. Like we'll just be crying.
So many mothers
depression.
have shared that.
Yeah,
It's hard.
and that's even one of that post-traumatic stress disorder is one very, very, very big cause of like the depression we have, or like women face, or people face, just families, even the men, because you have a new baby now, you have to deal with it, you have to raise a baby. You are never taught how to raise a baby. You have a baby that you have to raise, so it's too much pressure, it's too much this, that. So that's one other thing. There is also relationships, like people get depressed from that because maybe you build with this person or you have these expectations and
All
the
of a
person
sudden it
switches
just
on you,
crashes.
and it's like you never even thought about that part. No part of your brain maybe went there, so it's shock. It's something. And then another thing that happens, death. It causes depression. Most people, they lose parents, they lose like
I remember when I
Oh.
lost my elder sister.
right.
Till date,
Yeah,
I just need to think about her for like
Right.
2 minutes, and that's it.
girl.
I get into this. I don't
You
know,
get that? It's like it
space.
just happened.
Yes,
That's
it's
how
that
depression
bad.
is. It would happen like the trauma just happened. So, I mean, in my own case, I started going through depression when I was a kid because I lost my dad when I was about 6 years old, and we were really close. So every day I would pray, to God, like, why would you take my father away from me? Like, and things literally changed after that. Like in Nigerian movies, like you see when the father dies, brothers come from here to there, they're fighting over property, this and that, and life is going, and the kids are here and there, things are happening. No one is really, you just have to grow. In my case, that's how it was. Like, I don't even know what I watched TV. That's how I learned something, so many things. So from that age, I started dealing. I was a sad kid. I used to deal with depression then because death. I faced death. I had so many questions. I was asking questions every day. I would cry myself to sleep. I would pray to God, like, okay, you know what? If you exist, if there is a God, right? Show me a sign. Show me why you took my dad away from me? Why would you take my father away? Like, why? You know, I couldn't accept it. And let me tell you something, it wasn't until last year when I went through therapy that I actually healed. I actually accepted it. For 26 years, I hope to see my dad somewhere, you know, like he's going to appear, or I would see him. Like, I couldn't just, I haven't accepted it, you feel me? And I didn't even really know that would cause so much anger in me, frustration, things and that. So I would blame everybody on everything, you know. Meanwhile, the pain was coming from somewhere, you know. Besides that incident that happened, the death that gave me that shock, I had to start seeing life in a different way. Of course, I was praying and I never saw him appear. So at some point, I even believe there is no God. Like, I've lived a part of my life knowing there is no God. You cannot tell me anything. I'm like, yeah, and the things that happened to me after that, because my dad was not there to protect me. That's when I got harassed. That's when I got molested by this uncle of mine, which at the time he was giving me this he was brainwashing me basically, and making me feel like this is what my dad would do. Like, it's a thing that girls go through, and like men, like every girl goes through that. So I even thought even his daughter goes through that, like he does that with his daughter. I'm telling you, this is what I'm telling you. I had to, oh my God, I'm telling you, he took years like teaching me. This is a man who was the chief registrar at the court of first instance. So somebody in a position of power, someone who is judging people.
We're supposed to uphold the law.
This is
that's somebody who's supposed to uphold the law, and he's the same person who is breaking the law now. This is really terrible.
Really sad.
You know? So yeah, like, you know, like, it's crazy. Like,
sometimes we will be like,
this is
you never can really see.
How old were you again?
I don't know. I can't. It's a blurry memory, but I was like, I don't know, like 10 or I don't know. I can't remember, or maybe 9 or something. Maybe before I went
shortly after your father died. 6 between.
Yeah, I was. That's why I mean, right? Like, it was like maybe 2 years after. Because maybe my mom would send me there, or he would come to the house, and he's this person that everybody loves, and he's giving people gifts, buying everybody this and that. So it's like he's the Santa Claus, like, of the family. Everybody loves him. He's the perfect one, right?
Were you in the same house were you with his family in the same house?
Well, sometimes I was. Sometimes we would go for maybe holidays or weekend or something. You know how it is. Like,
they always want to send
they'll send you there. You know, my mom would definitely.
My question is, the uncle, when they sent you there, was he married? Did he have kids?
Of course. Of course. Like, sometimes we would be playing. Oh, it's crazy, but it is what it is, though. Like, it happened, right? Sometimes we would be playing like with his kids, or he would take us out, buy us some ice cream, and things. And when we come back and we're being excited, eating this, that, he would corner me to a place.
And start intoxicating your mind.
Get the. Obviously, it didn't feel right. Like, like, imagine a small person and a big man like this, just him on you here, like, you can't breathe, you know. So it's like,
you're
gonna start.
So it took time to maybe talk to somebody around that.
That's what I'm saying.
Your uncle, as in your own uncle,
time to
work on your
my mentality,
on your psychology, and make it
because
look like it's
a 6-year or a 7-year-old. Because I tell, before it happened, like 9, he took like 2 years. So I don't know. Soon as my dad, like the next year, like 7 years old, a 7-year-old girl who is not exposed. We never went out we always live like in the house, in the fence. We don't go like to the neighbors, so you don't have any doctrine from anywhere else. I'm not seeing anything from anywhere. I don't know how the world is, right? Yeah. It's only when I went to school, like to boarding school, and even when I went there, it's only when I talked to this friend of mine, like in school, I was like, I want to go see my uncle. And then I was telling her some things like, he does, like, you know, and she was like, what the hell? You know, I'm telling you, I didn't even know. Like, you feel me? Can you imagine that? Like, can you imagine that? Like, I had to. I can't even explain it. Is crazy. It's like it's like it's not real because I can't even believe it happened. Like, because I was a smart kid, I knew things. Like, you know, it didn't feel right, obviously, because it was painful. Like, you know, I'm not. Yeah, like, but it would take time. Sometimes he would do this, he would do that, he would do that, he would do this, he would do that, until I actually started, and I'm like crying all the time because I'm like, it doesn't feel right. Like, even though you're telling me this is how society is, and I should be grateful that you are even there to teach me these things. Like, I would thank you after that, even like, oh my God, you know, like, yeah. And then I'll just be like, and it always looked like I was a bad kid. I tried to talk to somebody though, but somehow it will manifest in other ways. Like, you need attention. You want somebody to talk to you, or I'm trying to talk to my mom, or I'm trying to tell her something, but they don't get it, or they're just dismissive, right?
We understand the fear.
At some point, I started feeling like they wanted it, or it was all right because I would come back and maybe bring some money sent to my mom. And as soon as I give my mom this money, like, oh, Uncle gave me it's like whatever I'm saying doesn't mean anything. It's just like, oh, where God bless that one, or this, and I go back to my room and I cry. I cry myself to, like, every day I'll cry. I started praying like, okay, you know what? I want to see Jesus. Like, God, show me, give me something to believe in. You know, I tried. I didn't see. So, man, hey.
I can relate to my mom.
Girl, I'm telling you, this man will bring me to I was everywhere. I was just like his thing, right? He would bring me to his office, like at the court, where people are having cases, and I'll be there serving him. Yeah, in Bavenda, I would serve him coffee. I would serve his clients or people, and he'll be like, "Oh, this is my daughter. This is that." There at the office, like, he would lock the door and just like, you know, do the thing. And then I'm gonna have to be grateful, like, thank you, Uncle. I'm grateful that, what the hell?
Yeah, I think it's a lot, and I mean, listening to you, it even goes more than just the
what the hell?
It's actually the brainwashing that is
the problem.
Because it makes it really worse.
Exactly. You cannot be intoxicating the mind of somebody you are abusing against her own
father. Somebody who has given you trust,
close to her father,
and understand that you're supposed to, you know, just take care of them and lead them to the right place, and then you're the same person who is doing all of that. I think this is you know, so much that.
To be honest with everyone, I never experienced what to be disvirgined by
a guy that you're with. I understand.
I never ever felt what
I never
it means like to be disvirgin, because
I know.
At 8.
Yeah. I know. I tell you.
Yeah.
Oh, every girl probably
sorry.
I know. Girl, let it out. Yep.
Why the hell did we come up with this episode? I'm sorry.
It's cool.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. This is something.
Let it out.
Just like we always
I don't even think I'm ready that we should air. We should air this one because it's something I've never talked about. And when I explain, I think just one person knows about it. And when I explain, the person always says that it is good you talk about it. It is good you tell somebody. It's good you tell a family member. I bet you. At the time I was in primary school, I used to stay with just my big brother, and this is something no one knows. My dad, you know, I would always say it anywhere, even in at my job, my workplace. I always tell my colleagues that if something happens to me today, I would rather you tell my mom because she's a shock absorber, but never you tell my dad, because I don't think that man is going to take it. He loves me that much, and I love him so much, and if he ever hears about the story, I think that we are going to go back
Girl.
to the past and haunt the person. But
You have to.
I don't want to come here and call the person's name. But even that at that
You
time,
must
I
not
used to
be
stay
here,
with just
but-
my big brother. My big brother used to be a mechanic, and the person I follow, my direct follower, and he used to hustle for us, for him and I. At that time, my dad was out hustling as well. My mom was at her own corner hustling. Like I said, she used to be a laborer at CDC. This is something I've never ever told anyone. When the day Daphne came out and talked about
Oh yeah.
her being raped,
Oh,
I
yeah.
just felt like I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
should I write under this post that I can
Like me
relate?
too.
It's something
Yeah.
I've never, ever told anyone. But
Yeah.
what I would say is that I never felt what it means to be disvirgined and then you see blood.
I know.
Never ever. When I was 8.
And while we are
girl.
on this, I mean, just to make us not feel like it's something bad to actually discuss. There is that part of healing that comes with expression.
Yeah.
The truth is, no matter how much you don't want to talk about something, of course, you must not give the details. Like
Yeah.
now, we understand
Yeah.
that you went through something and you've aired it and all. But it's important for us to always talk about these things because that is where the real healing starts coming from.
All
If you
my
don't talk
life,
about
never
it,
ever
you feel
said it.
so bad every day, wanting to suppress it, wanting to just keep
But
it,
it's
wanting
difficult.
to feel
Let me
strong.
tell you something.
Yeah.
All my life,
It's
I've
easier
I've kept it
to
all my
even deal
life.
with it, to suffer with it, than to even talk about it. Don't even. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You now. Why? The reason why we can't talk about it, the shame.
Yeah,
First of all, the shame, you feel ashamed, your own self.
yeah.
The shame that comes from when you express it, the shame that people feel, or the shame that people
From
allocate
what
to
they
you.
say when they
Yes.
listen to you or now.
Fear of not being believed.
Yeah,
Do you know what it means to tell somebody and then they don't believe that it's true?
exactly.
Girl, I'm telling you, there's so many reasons. I'm talking about this. I first talked about it not long ago, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know, maybe 2 years ago or 3 years ago or something. But that happened to me. I think it was like, I was only talking about it maybe 10 years or 15 or almost, I don't know, 20 years after.
Later, yeah.
That's when I could talk about, I couldn't even talk about, even to anybody.
Yeah,
You cannot even explain it. You understand?
Yeah.
At some point, you're like, it's healing. But healing is difficult.
Very
It is.
true.
Sometimes, because healing means that you have to face that situation again. And you dead feel the same as it just happened.
yeah.
Like, you know? Like,
Or sometimes
remember
or sometimes
everything.
even worse, because,
You-
I mean,
you
you're
know?
thinking you could do
Exactly.
better.
Yeah,
like
your
I said,
mind
when
is
I
gone.
thought about my dad in the first place, I was
you don't
like,
want to
I don't
hurt the
think that-
people too
that
that
is
you
the thing.
love.
That is
You
the
don't
thing.
want to give them that memory. You also, you
At that
don't
point
want
in
to be
time,
seen as a
my
victim.
brother taking care of
you
me
don't
was
want
very
to,
young. What do I start
the
telling
stigma,
him? I did not
you
know
understand?
anything.
Yeah.
What
I
if-
just ate.
I did
and then you were
experience that.
threatened not to
Some
say
of my
anything.
family
What do you
members
wanna
became
say?
cold
Yeah.
after I said what I said about something that happened to me, which was not
was
my
true.
fault, which was, they're like, oh, you like drama too much, or why didn't you, or this, da da da.
That's the
age?
problem.
I've lived with it
That's
all my
actually a
life.
very-
At what
That's actually a serious problem because I mean sometimes families really need to learn.
You know, people,
You know,
we need
I
that
don't know
support
why they feel
system, like
it's
you were
okay to
saying.
wanna press people when
You
they
know,
come out and say
support
things
system.
that are
honestly
true and-
speaking, this has with when we started this discussion about depression, you know, I knew we would share heartbreaking stories, and
Yeah.
I honestly had no idea it was going to be this bad.
Right.
But I'm happy we're having the conversation. It is true
Yeah.
that we may not be able to paint out all the details,
All of it,
but it's important to have this conversation because people are going through a lot.
girl.
Yeah.
People have
A whole
stories that they
lot.
are able to share because of
Yeah.
how people are going to react.
Even guys,
People are struggling every
men,
day.
even
Yes,
men
even
that
men.
would have been
I
through
wanted
abuse
to-
as well.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, Jude, the question because in today's society, it is almost like a man. In fact, has always been like that. Though we are changing it, we are trying because now we have. I think June is Men's Mental Health Month.
Yeah.
But are we really still allowing these men to express themselves? Are we allowing these men to be vulnerable,
yeah,
to cry if
yeah.
they feel like crying?
Or we say like, we
to
will not
hurt,
say that
for a man to
well,
tell you that he is
It's
down.
going through
Like
this.
yeah, there's no way. We know they are nothing. I'm
Yeah.
down, man. Meet me here. Let's talk about this thing or cry
Yeah.
and really
It's,
show.
that's
how
why
we-
I say it's okay for men to cry.
Yes.
This guy, we were having a meeting yesterday. He was like, he just lost his mom, and he was trying not to cry. It's like, I get small sister them. I have to console them. If I cry with them, who is gonna be strong? I told him, boy,
Not
Let
to
it out.
cry.
cry.
Let it out.
I beg you, cry.
If not,
You don't want to go take
The
it out
worst
on
person is
somebody.
someone who cries.
You don't want to go
inside.
take it out. You want it's going to manifest somewhere in your life, maybe in your job or in something. I also went through like the depression from a relationship, which like besides having, cause my whole pregnancy journey and all that, it was kind of, you know, because I was
you were depressed during pregnancy.
Oh hell yeah. Oh hell, I like a whole lot. We had issues, like so, like girl, it was a trap, right? I felt like this guy wanted to just entrap me. As soon as I got pregnant, and it was up to the point where I'm going to give birth, right? I became a slave, literally.
What?
Yeah. Or I gave birth. Girl, I mean, this involves my son as well. So I don't want to make him feel like he was, you know, I'm just trying to do right by him. But I'm telling you, it was horrible. That's when I actually started speaking. When I went through that depression, from there I almost died because it got physical. It got like abuse, like okay, punching, you shut up, da da da. Like I don't even know. I can't even up to now. I don't understand how, because it was not always like that. It's not like the guy was always violent or he was always it was like okay. But now sometimes the people you be vulnerable to, you tell them these things about you, they use them against you.
Yeah.
This person would insult me like, you that was raped, who's gonna want to be with you? I'm doing you a favor.
Yeah.
I was paralyzed. I couldn't move. I'm telling you, I had to. I don't know how. I just told God, like, no, now. I was creeping to the bathroom to just have water to wake my soul, to wake myself up. Sometimes it has happened to me like 2-3 times where I get this panic attack and I'm like,
Still pregnant.
I'm about to die. No, even after I gave birth, we went through a whole lot. I don't know. That's why I was saying, like, new parents, they also go through these challenges. Maybe the man now he's now has to provide for a baby and and this and that, and maybe he's not financially stable at the time, so he starts taking out on you like, oh, you don't even know what I do to get money, or you guys are just here making my life difficult, da 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 da, all those things. Like, it was crazy. I'm telling you, I almost lost my life. I ran away with my son. Like, I ran dead with no, like, barefoot, you know. It was crazy. I never really talked about this like detailedly, because even after I tried to talk about it, like, he kind of bullied me and tried to make me feel like talking about it, like I went out of line talking about it. It wasn't seen like what you did was what was out of line.
That's right.
Not me telling or trying to tell my story and you're like, oh, you are exposing the fact. I'm like, no, you try to kill me, literally, like, literally, you try, like, you're gonna unalive us, my son, like the media is going to come and find us here. Girl, it was that crazy. Like, you know what, I did see my body, like, I was like, this is not gonna happen in Yaoundé. It's just that we were at a place where I took pictures, I took videos and but he couldn't let me go out of that place with it, right? Like, he has it till now. He tried to break it and just destroy all the evidence, but I still have, like, these are scars on my body. You know, I didn't do this to myself. So I'm like, man, it's real. Like, relationships, that's why I right now I'm not, people should, we were talking about relationships, but people should go for what really works for them. Don't try to, I don't know, just straight up evil, because why would you see somebody doing something, trying to make a life for herself, trying to do this, and then you just come to ruin it, you know? Now I'm a baby mama.
Yeah,
I never ever thought, I swear to God, I never thought I would ever be the one.
Want that for
Like
yourself.
when I told my mom I was pregnant, she was in denial. She was like, "Nope, not you, not you, like not you," because it's almost like I'm supposed to do this. I was supposed to do this. How come? But I brought myself down.
Yeah,
Of
but
course,
I
with
think,
the ladies for
Bro,
That's
like
right.
shit.
I think I'm going to definitely weigh in on, you know, on another dimension, because of course, like we say, most people, we always say society makes it look like depression sometimes is a thing of women. If a man
Oh,
is supposed
yeah.
to get into depression,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
probably supposed to be drugs, or it be because, you know, they've done something they didn't have to do or no.
Yeah.
But I think I'm looking at it from a place where personally you are being pressed to depression. What do I
Right.
mean by being pressed
So
to
much
depression?
pressure, right?
You were mentioning something about, I think, Faith, you know, saying that as well. Men not being expressive enough,
Yeah.
and people feeling like men are definitely supposed to be strong.
Yeah.
It's straight up lies.
You know.
I think in a couple of occasions I've been able to say that women, to some extent, from my experiment, are a little more stronger than men. Sometimes, especially when it comes to dealing with emotions.
Oh, yeah.
Men, to some extent, might camouflage to be dealing strongly with emotions, but the ability to express and be free
Yeah.
makes you stronger than wanting to hide.
That's
And
true.
that is why women are stronger in dealing with emotion, because
Yeah.
they have that
They can handle
ability
it.
to express.
To express it.
Now, what kills men more is wanting to keep it, suck it in,
And
feel
be
like,
strong.
as a man, I
You're
am not
not
supposed to cry.
supposed to. Yeah.
As a man, I am supposed to be strong. As a man, I am supposed to stand out. Now, back to me. Definitely, I mean, it's not news. I said this a lot. It's not news that I've lived, you know, a very huge chunk of my life as an orphan, with my mom dying while I was still, you know, in secondary school, and my dad dying sometime later when I was in university and all.
Damn.
And, you know, having grown-up siblings, they were pretty grown up like that. But it becomes very difficult to be in a family where you have to literally, you know, take care of yourselves as a family, but you don't have somebody. This thing they call
Yeah.
breadwinner
Yeah.
is underrated. When you have to take care of your family, literally, but you don't have somebody that is already well to do
To
it
help
becomes
you
really
to become
difficult. And the person who probably shows up to be a little bit stronger than the rest becomes too
The-
pressed,
Yeah. I
because
feel
you have to not show weakness just so your family does not feel weak. That's a lot of weight on the
The
shoulder,
man, yeah.
and that takes it plays on everything around you, because it plays on how you behave, it plays on your relationship, it plays on your work, it plays on everything. Like, for instance, you might not want to date a girl just yet because you feel like you have so much weight from your family that dating a girl definitely is going to be adding more weight.
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So that is so much. Now I have been able to deal with a lot of that, and sometimes you find yourself wanting to do so much to prove to people that you are doing a lot. Do you know what it means to want to do so much to prove to people that you're doing a lot? Like, you always want to, you know, feel like you need to explain yourself by being expressive in action, and it is so much. But at the end of the day, what I have always done is being expressive. Personally, I can count how many times I have outrightly cried. I'll do that, and I say that all the time. To me, crying is no sign of weakness. I have felt pain
therapy.
sometimes that I
It's
sit down and
natural.
I feel
It's
that weight
natural.
on me
It's natural.
that I need to actually just pull it out.
Yeah.
And the easiest way to probably not, you know, destroy myself is to cry it out.
Yeah.
I've cried alone in my room. I've cried beside people. I've cried in front of people and all of that. Sometimes you go to some place and somebody's expressing something which is, you know, somebody's expressing something that is sad, but you join them to probably cry,
Yeah.
giving the impression that you're probably just feeling for them, but you're actually crying for your own pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I
feel,
know
yeah.
that just like people
understand.
say, some people go to funerals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
happens
hell
a
yeah.
lot, and
I don't
I've
go
heard
to
a lot.
funerals because of that. Because I would feel
You will
like
cry
I would even
so
cry
much.
more
They'll
than they
think that,
believe.
I know.
Most they say, why
You're
you being
crying
so
your own-
dramatic?
you're crying
Why
for
you
your
being?
own
I'm
pain
like,
too.
That's right. And just growing up and having a lot of sisters around me, I really feel the pain when it comes to what female will go through, what people will go through in the houses and homes of those that they are supposed to look up to. But like we say, they underrate this a lot because we men staying in other people's homes as well, having to grow in places that you were not meant to grow in, having to undergo things that you were not meant to undergo. You suppress that, but you stay in a place, and then all the time you probably will be the one to do all the chores. You probably will be the one that is sent. You probably be the last person to get something nice. You probably will go to the worst school, or sometimes you don't go to school at all. Those things, they actually make you feel so bad, so depressed. But we do not think it's depression. It's only when you grow up and then you start looking at these things and then you start feeling bad. Exactly. You start understanding that I was clearly depressed.
Or maybe they just carry on with that behavior and they start treating people bad too. They don't even know why.
Exactly. You don't know because you feel like it's just normal, which is not supposed to be like that. So I always want to encourage a lot of people, especially the men, to be expressive. Being expressive means
feel all your emotions.
Other people to also be expressive. It's okay to be with your girl, and rather than getting violent because you're feeling depressed, rather than getting violent, express it.
Go down and say, "Mom, this is this."
Get a shoulder. Because some of these men get violent not because they want to, but because they're dealing with their own depression.
And the way
they feel like
for real though,
it
comes out.
I think men have to learn to be more expressive. They should learn to be vulnerable.
Feel all the emotions. People maybe they feel only happiness or sadness, but there are all kinds of emotions, right? Like anger, there is feel all of it. Feel it. That's what I've been doing now. Like, you know what? Feel it. Feel it.
There's another like Jude was saying, depression that comes from. I think it's even what Magdala was saying earlier on. Depression that comes from a lot of responsibilities.
That's right.
And as we age as young persons, I think some of us have either clocked 30, we are getting to 30. There is that pressure about where you're supposed to be in life. By the time you are getting close to 30, you're already 30. To the point where if you are not there yet, you start feeling like
you're never going to make it.
You get into I will not lie, I celebrated my birthday recently. And for some reason, probably based on the content I had been seeing and the fact that I grew up hearing a lot of this in church, seminars and the rest, I started asking, but hey, you're getting there, madam. Age, so what's the plan? Are you there yet? And I will not lie, I didn't get into my birthday with a lot of happiness.
Excitement.
It is in the course of the day that I started getting reminded. The love is as if God was communicating to me that hey, there's a lot to be grateful for. The love was super
telling you.
But honestly, when it clocked midnight, because there's a tradition for me, I would have to pray. So I took like an hour to pray. I prayed, I communion, but my spirit was saddened. I was getting into that depression. I was like, but God, it's not like I'm not grateful, but there's just so much more I want for myself. And I was really sad. I was sad to the point where I was tearing up. And I started feeling, I was angry because that's what depression for you. These emotions are confused. I was angry, I was happy, I was angry, I was happy, and I was like, but what's happening here? Not that I don't have good things to be, but I'm like, I want more and all of that. And that is the problem with today's society.
Some
and the
people
fact
don't
that a lot
celebrate
of young
their
persons,
birthdays.
people don't do it because it is like a reminder of the fact that you are not there yet. So back to what I was saying, I think that a lot of young persons nowadays are depressed because of the pressure society attaches to age.
Very true.
You must have done this by this
true.
age. You must have done that by this age. And if you have not, and your peers have done it, there is a problem. While your peers were working, you were lazing about. While your peers were having sleepless nights doing this, you were abusing in the club and the rest. People start guilt tripping you. They start making you feel less. And that to the point where even the small things that you're successful at, you don't think about them again.
Exactly.
Life is all about the little wins. They say tiny drops of water make up an ocean. And if you don't start from the little win, like you wake up in the morning, you can make up your bed. That is a big
it starts from
achievement.
somewhere.
Of course.
You can make up your bed, you can cook for yourself, you can clean your clothes. You are responsible enough. Those things set you up for success.
Very true.
Because they say if you're not, you don't accomplish the little things well, you cannot accomplish the big things.
things.
So society is making it look like as young persons, we are failures because we are getting to 30,
Yeah, we
getting to
haven't
40,
achieved this,
and
we
we have not
haven't
bought a
achieved
car,
that.
we have not bought a house, we have not gotten married. That's another
That's,
thing.
oh hell,
I did
oh my
not
God,
know.
marriage.
Growing up, I did not know that I'll be nearing 30 and I'll also
Without
start
being
hearing
married.
those.
Yeah.
Because what I
I'm feeling
didn't
like,
say it to
oh.
people,
Yeah.
and I grew up, let me say, woke to an extent based
Yeah.
on my profession.
Yeah.
But these days, I go on the internet. I say, post a nice picture,
I
make
know.
a quick married, beauty.
Why
go
you
fade.
know? Yeah, that kind of
You
thing.
hear
It's
that, you'll be like,
crazy.
no, tough, I don't care about this, but you hear
But,
that 2,
you
3,
know,
4 times,
yeah,
you
it
start
gets
thinking,
to
man,
you.
and you,
It's like,
why
you're
you say,
right,
and
so-
even when you are not ready for marriage,
Yeah.
You know, you just
you start telling
they're like,
yourself,
you know what, you have
maybe
to
I
get
should
married.
married.
Yeah.
So you
And
go
do this
settle with
thing. I said,
anybody
it
that
came-
is just there.
It even came from people that were there's someone that was around the circle of people that made that comment. Hey, you know, say you massa never they are person. These comments that people make around you,
Yeah.
like, hey, but this person is a cool person, but you know
Yes,
that this
one
person
point.
is cool, but they are not good for you.
Yeah.
But because of the comments that people are making around you,
You
they
wanna
force
go
you.
To weigh
there
in on that,
and stay
a
there.
lot of
Yes,
a lot of
you
those
get
comments
there.
are made
Belong.
against wrong
Wrong
marriage.
marriage,
Yes.
yes.
Because
And
of
at the end
those
day, you
comments,
die
you
in
leave the person that you're with, that you're so good
My
with,
brother.
and then you go and get somebody who is already made just because
Yeah.
you want to marry, and then wear the cap of I'm a
It's
married
about
man.
Exactly.
you don't start reach 28,
Yeah.
you don't reach 29, 30, and
Yeah.
you go hair born pikin.
I know.
And
Those
so
were the things.
what?
I
You
know.
start
And
sitting
tomorrow
down
you
in the
become a
house.
baby mama.
Yes.
Girl,
Something you did not want for
I'm
yourself.
telling you,
Care
that
about
is
you.
why that is how I got pregnant. That's how I got. It was like when my period will even come, I'll feel like where. So it will even be like, man, I'll be like, sorry, like please, this is
If
like,
you don't
you understand? I mean, say,
And
God.
Because of the
and-
pressure.
And it became on me, oh, it was
But
on
the
me like,
same
no.
people, they
And
push
sometimes
you to go
they
become
really-
baby mama, when you don't become the baby mama, and then you're struggling with it.
Yeah,
And
they'll
you're
say,
like,
who send you
no, when
now?
you're expressing that, them go
They
come,
go get
Say that they be saying,
Exactly.
yeah.
like
I said time be day. There was a time when when I started putting on weight. I always share this story about my
Yeah.
depression.
Yeah.
That has been my
Yeah, there's
biggest.
also another way.
That has been
Beauty
my
standards,
biggest-
right? Beauty standards.
People would tell me that women in the media are not supposed to be fat.
Yeah, yeah.
Women in the media are not
Yeah,
pretty, they
yeah,
are fat.
Yes.
As a fat girl,
Yeah.
hey,
I'm
Papa
telling you,
God,
fat.
what have I not heard?
Yeah.
Not that I ever had a problem with being
Be-
fat
of
or
course,
chubby or
like,
thick or whatsoever.
girl.
But at some point, I started telling myself, but will I ever lose my job one day because I'm fat?
Yeah.
Would I wake up one
Look
day
at
and my
that.
boss tells me, you don't really look appropriate for this show because of your size. And I
Yeah.
got into depression
Yeah.
for a long time. I'm not talking about 1 month.
Yeah.
For like close to 3, 4,
Yeah.
even half a year. It was that bad. To the point where I've said it in the previous edition. I be changed the way I be wear clothes. Me, I mean, as you see the kind of clothes,
Yeah.
the kind of clothes me I like to wear.
Yeah.
Hawk my body, but that time I be
Yeah.
dressed like Mary Amaka,
Yeah.
skirt big blouse, trouser big blouse.
Yeah.
This because I did not want you to see my thighs and my
Yeah.
cellulite.
Yeah.
I did not want you to see my arms and things. I
Yeah.
don't want you to have the slightest impression that my tummy
Yeah.
is
Yes,
protruding
folds.
and all of those things. And people forget to understand that every time you lose weight or gain weight, it is not because you are leading an unhealthy lifestyle.
Oh, no.
People are going through stress.
Yeah.
That's right.
I don't know how many times, for instance, I've told people 1,000,000 I say if you check, say my weight gain, come on now from chop, then you lie. You can't
You
even
know.
see the weight while you
Chop,
chop.
you know.
But people don't get that.
Sometimes
Imagine
they're not even
constantly being
eating.
shamed and the rest. You did some,
I
you
know.
don't fat there. You don't really.
I know,
I mean, see the
I
other
know.
last month you did like
Ooh,
say, and then you go
hell
back home
yeah.
and Magdala, and like we will tell ourselves funny jokes and the rest because it's all about being healthy at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But you get when there's nobody watching,
Yeah.
you're in front of your mirror.
Yeah.
Those words start
It starts
coming back.
coming.
Yes,
ahead,
exactly.
Like, oh.
You start from
This, that,
How
that.
do my hand big swing?
Yeah.
My lap so
Yeah.
okay.
It's the same for artists too. Like we are supposed to have the figure 8, right? Like we're
Those
supposed to look
perfect.
this kind of way. Soon as you give birth, you have to get snatched like as fast as possible. You know, I'm telling you, when I gave birth to, I went through that. I was like, hold on. Stretch marks on my. Like, I'm seeing stretch marks. I'm seeing this weight. I'm like, so I'll never wear maybe
Crop top.
a crop top. I will never do this. I'll never. At some point, I was like, it. I this is the standard of beauty now. As a matter of fact, I'm even.
You have something to show.
Yeah, I'm like my fupa, you know. I started saying, I was like, you know what, Lizzo became like my favorite artist, and because she was embracing her body, I was like, and I felt beautiful. Now I can walk with my hair anyhow. I don't give a shit.
That you can do things for yourself.
Yeah.
If you do not own who you are presently, you cannot make who you are become better.
You will never
if you don't
be.
love the present you and say, okay, I love me still, even as I am fat and
it's
this,
growth.
but I think I can be healthier, you start working on it. But if you hate yourself and you're thinking that it is with that hate and bitterness that you change, you cannot change.
That's why
but
people
do we
get
understand in this
surgeries,
society?
and it never ends, because maybe after the surgery you thought like after getting this your body's going to be like this, and you become happy. You get it and you start seeing another flaw again, like, oh, my face, I need some Botox. After you're like, oh, my arms, I need this, I need that, I need that. It's first of all, like, beauty standards, right? Like, because
I think that's another
now
thing.
they
Honestly,
create it to
people
make
on the
money off
internet.
of.
Yes.
Do you know how much women spend in the beauty industry? Do you know? Like, it's $1 billion industry, and they prey on women's insecurities. That's why when you see they make ads, they make this, the type of models they use, the type of people they use, they try to paint like a perfect picture of how, you know, but even those people on the daily basis, they don't look like that. You know, you feel me? So those are the things
I think I always say that the easiest way to truly get better is to get better for yourself.
Right.
The only way you can get pretty is to get pretty for yourself. Honestly, I say this all the time, even to a girl I date. I'll tell them, like, ladies will be like, I want to make myself pretty for you. I want to get better for you. I say, no, that's a
Do it for yourself.
Do it for yourself, because if you cannot do it for yourself, then you cannot even truly do it for me.
You can.
Because it's going to be, at the end of the day, it's going to definitely weigh down, because the day I probably say something that is not what you're thinking. Look at it this way, right? Somebody will be like, okay, you're fat, you're too fat, for instance. And then you work out and you get slim. And the same,
it's like, oh, why you dry so? Like, you know.
Look at the case of Charlotte the Panda.
Girl, I know, boy.
Of course, Charlotte the Panda, I used to like her just the way she was. She used to look so nice and pretty with nice boobs and all. Then at some point she became slim. But it didn't change her from Charlotte the Panda. Rather than people understanding what was happening, probably she decided to just work out and get slimmer. They
talking about her husband,
a lot of things to it, and then they were even talking about her marriage.
Yeah,
like you don't enter marriage now, then you don't drive. Your master don't do you back.
People bring videos when people meet me
for house. So you know there is a lot of things you cannot even deal with that.
People need to be realistic, right?
Yeah.
You cannot expect. I'm telling you, people would see me and be like, "Oh, Tila," referring to maybe girls. You know, one of them. That's maybe 8 years ago. I shot that video. I was how old? Like, so you, they're like, but you are so different. Look at this video. You were so slim here. See how you need to go back.
You cannot be serious.
I'm like,
don't be ridiculous, please.
The hell? It's stupid. You understand? Growth is inevitable. That's it's change. That's change one constant thing, right? We grow. Nobody is the same. Nobody stays the same, even as you were yesterday. So expecting people to remain in one image that is supposed to be the standard is totally, it's delusional, as a matter of fact. It's crazy.
Let us now also talk about the fact that we need to build a culture of seeking for help, or also having people that we can honestly and truly count on. As a human being, you must have your people.
That's right.
Yes. That no matter how bad it gets, you should at least have one person, two people that you can go to.
Yeah.
And we also have to learn to be those people
for other people. It's us.
Learn to be those people.
Right.
For instance, let's say Magdala should be able to look at me and say, based on who Faith is, I think I can confide in her, share my problems.
She would not
judge me. She should be able to look at her exactly, and she will not judge me. Because we keep saying that people should be this, should be this.
You know, the moment they do, you use that to
against
maybe
them. So we all are the people that need to be the people.
Yeah.
For instance, start self-examining. Yes, start self-examining. But when this person shared this situation with me, how did I treat them?
Yeah.
Did I give them the needed help? Did I really listen to them? Because that's also another thing. oftentimes we it's a human thing which is really bad, and that's why we are having this conversation
For
in the
real,
first place.
though.
Sometimes people hear your problem and
For
are telling you
real.
Ashia, not really because they are telling you Ashia,
Yeah.
because they are thanking God that your problem is worse than their own.
You know, and they have something on you.
Exactly.
It's like they have something
Facts,
on you,
like,
so they
so
use
the
it to
person
trap you.
so-
Yeah,
Person,
you see the way they start treating
so
you
your life
now,
not
like,
really perfect the way we're perfect. So yeah, it is like people are waiting for you to slip and fall and for them to
Yeah.
rejoice, which is really bad because I feel that we
it's-
all have our individual battles.
Yeah.
They say the roof covers up so much. So if we can all have that kind of compassion and understanding for each and every one, I
Humanity.
think the world is going to become a really better
I'm
place, and
telling
we'll
you.
have less and less people walking around being
but-
depressed or
and
struggling.
crazy people
Because
losing
life
their
is hard.
minds.
Life is hard. Like being a Cameroonian in itself right now is
Girl.
Very hard.
you need
You
special
want
talents.
dream? Like, hold on. Why are you dreaming? How do you want to make your dreams come true? How? Which do you know how many?
I don't have
The worst
parts
is
of
even like in the sports world. I don't even know. There's like you did maths. It's just like, okay, you are just doing it for fun, right? You are not okay. You're not. But they're talented people. They're footballers. I cannot. Growing up, you will say like, man, this man was the pichichi, but he will never go anywhere because the moment he gets to the platform where he's supposed to be showcased.
Yeah.
I used to play basketball. Let me take an example. I used to know I would become a professional athlete, like a basketballer.
Yeah.
I put in so much work, working my off every day. It was as simple as the coach wanting to me, and I said no, and he would bench me when I was like the star player. I would go for a competition, and I mean, like, you know, when your teammates they're even uncomfortable to go play. They're like, why? Like what you guys were talking about, like, okay, you wanna get competition, you have a competition to play. What's the goal, right? But you see that no, I would sit on the bed. That's how I walked away. And now, because I understood that it's something that I always need people. Sports is a collective thing. It's a collective game. You cannot just go, especially that kind of sport, right? So yeah, my coaches will be. I'm like big. You can imagine basketball coaches, how big and huge, you know. So yeah, like yeah, I walked away. And that's how I started focusing on my music, because I was like, you know what, I need to do something that cannot be taken away from me. Like nobody can control.
Yours.
Yeah, that's mine. That's how I started now focusing on my music. Like, you know, yeah.
It's this is a insightful conversation, honestly speaking, and
Oh wow.
it's so deep, and it's fun to have, and it's very sad as well.
I know.
We're literally going to be wrapping up. We're pretty much wrapping up in
You need to
a few
be
minutes.
those people.
Magdala, you've been quiet for quite a while.
I know.
I'm hoping you're feeling better right
Please
now.
let me say something
But
before I forget.
no, we're not wrapping up.
Okay,
We need to
okay.
talk about our coping mechanisms. Like
Oh,
what
right.
we do to
Right,
cope.
yeah,
You
yeah.
wanted to add
No,
something?
I think if we'll go there,
Okay, awesome.
then she,
So, Magdala, how do you cope? How did you cope in the past? How are you coping now, especially when that happens? Because in this part of the world, oftentimes, for some people, coping mechanism will mean going for therapy.
Yeah.
But let us say when that is not an option, what
Or
do
when
you
it's not
do
available,
when you're
yeah.
really down? What do you do to feel better?
Well, if I have to talk about what happened, like I said, I never ever shared this story because I did not see it necessary to share. I was actually looking out for my family, especially my parents, so I had to keep it all to myself, and just one person knew about it. A friend, I don't want to call her name so that tomorrow it doesn't be that I actually kept it from family, and then just one person knew about it, and it's not something I ever thought I would have the courage one day to come out and say that. Whenever I hear people talk about it, I just laugh. I just say in my heart that I
Shut
can
it out.
relate.
Yeah.
But then I would want to say I feel a lot better after letting it out. A lot better because it's been so long. It's been a long time, you know. But the trauma always comes, especially when you sit in a gathering with friends and then they talk about their past experiences, how they were this virgin, how they started dating and so, and then there now you cannot relate. So but then I've learned to move on. First, like I said, it's been a very long time now, and since I decided not to tell family and to keep it to myself, I am way better. I've become stronger, and I think I'm a better person. But this is something you not wish even for your enemy. You would never wish for this to happen to your enemy. But like we all have shared different point of views and experiences on this platform. I think that after today, if I see somebody who's going through something, be it this similar situation or not, I think that I would tell the person to share with somebody.
Yay.
It's worth sharing.
Healing. That's it.
It's
I
worth sharing
know,
because
girl.
I cannot lie to you all that I
wow.
am somehow very, very relieved right now.
Yeah.
And I've literally been quiet since I shared it. I did, like I said, I never knew. Sorry.
It's cool, girl. It's cool. It's alright. I'll just.
No, it's okay.
Yeah. So we're talking about coping mechanisms, right? What have been the coping mechanisms that I've been using, and maybe what I can advise, or So first of all, one of the coping mechanisms, I used to do sports. Okay, I'll go play,
And she
and
swims.
then right. Oh, that's cool. So doing some physical activity that will keep my mind off of the thoughts. I would go there and just get lost in. I used to go and stare at the court like from morning to evening. That was another thing. And then there's like music, right? Music helps. Listen to the music that you love, to uplift your spirit. Sometimes when you're sad and all that, go to your favorite songs. Go download that old playlist you used to like at some point when you were happy. I usually do that. Maybe subconsciously, like it's not like I was doing it, but and I was knowing like, okay, this is how. But when I go to that place, I'm happy. I'm just listening, I am titanium, and I'm just like, oh, I forgot about the thing. But I used to have a lot of nightmares as well from all those things. I never used to sleep. Nightmares. I wouldn't eat. So I started smoking, right? Like that was really one. Like that was. I feel like that was my that's like my highest coping mechanism I've been using. I won't lie. Like it's true that people do abuse it, and it does have these effects like neurologically, like on your nervous system and all that. But in my case, it did help me get through these nightmares. The first time I actually slept, I laughed. Like the first time I tried it, I slept. Like I slept through the night. I used to get scared to sleep. Like maybe I'll die in my sleep or something because of that death trauma, right? Like, I used to fear like I'll die every time. I had this fear of death. Like, so I started smoking. And it helped. I won't lie. Like it did help. It helped me to eat because I couldn't eat. You get depressed that much. You don't want. I couldn't take a shower. I couldn't. Girl, I've been even for like a week, or like maybe not a week, but like days. I'm just there. Time is like every day is the same. Like morning is like evening, or it's like night or whatever. I'm just stuck in time. So I used to smoke a lot, like a whole lot, like all through. I couldn't. It literally kept me sane. I even made a song about it, like Kaya. I was like, because my family, right? Obviously, it's like a taboo. It's something that you feel me? But like, I had to really explain. I got sick all the time. My mom was like, this thing. But I was like, think about it. How many times have you been going to the hospital? Like, and that's why. Because I will get sick every time. Because when you get depressed, your system literally shuts down. You get sick of things. That's why you go to the hospital. Some people go to the hospital, they check, they don't see anything. But you are sick as hell. You are torn up. You have head migraines and all that. I'm not saying that people should go smoke marijuana, but I'm just saying that, I mean, is being prescribed in other places in the world. In our country is kind of illegal. So I hope I don't get arrested, know. But I don't have none. But I'm just saying, it's a herb. It's literally a plant that could help people, you know. So I feel like it's also another way that they're controlling, because something that I see, like the pharmaceutical industry is another thing. They create these illnesses and then be like, okay, this is the antivirus. People have to absolutely get it, right? Yeah. But there are herbs, there are things that our ancestors used to use, our forefathers used to use. They would just go to the forest, or they know that this plant or this tree would help you. Like right now I have a plant, or like an herb that was given to me by this engineer who went to install solar panels in some village. And when he brought the light there's this power that came to him. I was like, my pikin, you don't bring me light. Come here, I show you something. May I bless you. He showed him this huge tree that has been there, and he took that back of a tree. Behold, that tree, it treats things like mental illness, gastritis, sinus, I mean, like cancer, like, is crazy. It's a whole lot of, you know. So I don't know. Ways that there's also therapy, right? I mentioned I went through therapy. Now, therapy is something that there's a stigma about therapy. Like, it's a white people thing. You know, it's like black people have always been strong. We just deal with our things. Now, well, I'm happy that there's more sensitization. There's more, I even have a concert I'm supposed to be attending in Boya on the 10th, a free mental health concert, which is to sensitize people about mental health and like give them solutions. And sometimes awesome. It's not even difficult, just being that person, just be patient just a little bit to listen to somebody, be that shoulder to cry on, give a hug, you know, help someone on the street, do something, just make the world a better place. I'm telling you, it heals you as well. Because most of us, we need help, right? But we also have to be that help that we seek.
Most certainly. It's been such an amazing time. Jude, your last words, so we wrap up.
Yeah, I mean, since we're talking about, you know, coping and all that, I think part of the topic was also about avoidance. And I am going to say one of the easiest ways that, you know, I have not gotten into depression as much as I needed to have. I would say that because on a normal day, I needed to have been into depression like maybe 1,000 times more. But how did I avoid it? There is something which, of course, most of the times it's not easy to do, but I feel like me being expressive has helped me avoid getting into depression. Why? Sometimes I keep talking about, you know, airing things out. The danger is always in feeling like you need to air it out to somebody who can keep it. But one thing I'm going to say here is, it's very difficult to see a human being that can keep a secret.
All right. Not everybody
it's almost impossible. That person you're telling them in confidence also has somebody they're going to tell in confidence. That person has another person they're going to tell in confidence. So it's almost impossible to have somebody that you're going to tell something to and the person is going to die with that. If the person keeps it so much, they also probably might get into depression by keeping you on.
Yeah, so that's what they say. Therapists need therapy as well.
Express yourself. Sometimes you cannot express yourself to somebody,
a stranger, like anybody,
get on a podcast,
whatever.
Get to somewhere and just express yourself.
Yeah.
People might laugh. People might bully you. People might make you feel bad. But I tell you, the moment you leave that place,
you are not the same.
You can never feel the same.
Because it's a way to keep carrying.
Different. So the way I have been able to cope and avoid depression is by being expressive. When they tell me you cannot do this, I tell myself I can do it. When they tell me I am worse than what I am, I say I'm better. When they say I look wretched, I say I look wretched, but I'm going to get better tomorrow. I encourage myself and I always just say to whoever I want to say, whenever and however, it's going to help, it's helped me, and it can help you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tila.
Yes, girl.
Thank you so much, Magdala. Brother Jude, thank you so much. It's been a wonderful time. Emotions flared up. We got really deep into talking, and I'm sure each and every one of us has learned a thing or two. We hope that this particular session is going to serve you in one way or the other. We did not just talk depression; we were able to talk trauma because it's even deeper. But also be able to talk about, in fact, life in general and how hard it gets sometimes, and the fact that we are just humans trying our utmost best to navigate through this thing called life. So we hope that from our words, it may not have gotten into entirety, but we hope that one or two of these words can help you feel better and do better to have the best life experience, because that's what we wish for you. So do not forget to share. Of course, it's important to share with others if this particular edition impacted you. And until the next, this hugs and kisses from myself and the entire team. Truth hurts, but must be told.
Yes.
Life get us in my brother. Sometimes in this life, we just need people to give you that hug and then help you release some stress.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so hard.
It's so relieving.
So cool. Wow.
I need a drink as well.
Sweet. Definitely.
I think on the camera, we need help.
You do it. Sometimes I wake up, man. 100 people. I'm like, tag it. I'm like, what the heck? Sometimes I just leave my car and just go. And I'm doing something else. I don't climb the tree.
I'm telling you, it's bad, my sister. That's nothing true.